Stay and fight, or vote with your feet. America is more politically divided than any time in living memory. It seems many are choosing to relocate from states where they are a political minority to states they perceive as more welcoming to their political views. The linked article below is specific to the large numbers of people migrating into and out of Florida for political reasons, but likely applies to other states as well. Would you ever move primarily over politics, or is it better to stay put and work to change the system where you're at? I don't think I'll ever be at a point in my life where moving for exclusively political reasons is financially viable. I bet the number is larger than it was before the political theater became so heated in this country, but would presume that the majority of moves are based primarily on other reasons. Regardless, in a states like Florida that was a swing state only 6 years ago, can't help but figure even the most moderate imbalance of immigration in out by political affiliation has major implications. Moreover, I used to not think about politics as a factor when considering moving. But now, having a young daughter, I'm highly aware of what states have restricted her rights to reproductive health autonomy. For most people, this is not a real choice, because they do not have the resources to move on the chance they don't like the state's politics. In any regard, I don't think either is necessarily better than the other. You couldn't pay me to live or visit Texas or Florida. Fuck Texas and fuck Florida. I've been considering it. I'm a minority in a red state that looks like it'd like to outlaw us. I'd like to get out where I can sell out top of market rather than escape with bags of my clothes. Once the government makes me wear a star of easy identification, no one thinks it can happen here. Just you wait. This is a special corollary of the Vimes Boots theory of economic unfairness. The wealthy can afford to vote with their feet. I cannot. People talk about the economic realities of moving to a different state or region, but also keep in mind the personal connections, especially for people older than college age, and super mega especially for people who have kids. The idea of leaving the place you live, and all your friends and families and favorite places, isn't terribly appealing. Sometimes I fantasize about running away to Italy or something, and my much more popular wife slaps it right down, because she wouldn't leave her friends, parents and brothers. I think total or 6-week abortion bans and anti-gay or anti-trans laws might actually get people to move from red states to blue states. Political moves probably weren't much of a thing then, but those types of laws are real-life things that may actually get people to end up moving. I've certainly ruled out ever living in any red state no matter how blue the city is, as long as total abortion bans or 6-week bans exist. Sans St. Louis. I live in Northern Virginia and I started a nonprofit here. I wouldn't move anywhere else in order to strategically influence the political makeup of a state. The research and focus of my nonprofit is fine where I am. And once I've built up an impressive enough resume, I can base my nonprofit elsewhere if need be. I would if I could. I'm in deep red BS country, but I can't afford it. I can't give up my house and find something equivalent for as little as I'm paying now. It depends on how much the politics of the state affects you directly. If you are trans in an anti-trans state, leave. If you are a young woman who wouldn't have the ability to travel to get an abortion, leave. Absolutely, I would move. There's only like 5 states I would live in currently. Safety and security, acceptance, financial safety nets, and overall less interaction with police, survival, and tons more are everything for me now. The disparity of politics and what is good for your personal survival matter so much more now than ever before. Some states currently, especially southern ones, are battlegrounds and wastelands. I had my mind made up that if Trump was not indicted over J6 or the documents, I would become an expat and had already been researching lower call countries with decent health care and accessible citizenship. Lots of Massachusetts people are moving to Maine, NH and Vermont for a variety of reasons. There are plenty of Democrats, but they have a different attitude toward guns. Cost of living is lower and the natural beauty is cleaner and less crowded. If you want to live on a lake, the lakes are cleaner than those in Massachusetts. Crime rates is lower and the roads are far less crowded. I've lived in conservative states most of my life, and I've generally had a stay and fight attitude. Moving to a more progressive state soon, and I'm honestly surprised by how relieved I feel to be getting away from the weird-ass politics. Around here, we did get rid of 2 wildly unqualified Republican senators recently in my state, so I'm able to leave feeling like the staying and fighting wasn't in vain. But I'm so over the bullshit. People are moving due to climate change, particularly away from the Gulf Coast and the Southwest. This will only speed up in the future, and I imagine it will have the effect of remixing the politically segregated. People often do what they have to do to look out for themselves and their own. But those who do are usually people of means. A lot of people don't have that option. If I lived in a purple or red state and had the ability to move purely due to political reasons, I don't think I'd do it. I couldn't have it on my conscience that I abandoned a whole bunch of other people who need as much help as they can get to bring change home. It's the same reason I refuse to ever consider leaving the country. A lot of people have no problems with just leaving America and everyone here to suffer at the hands of the regressive half. But that could never be me. The United States was built as a vote with your feet mentality in mind. We have federalized too much, unfortunately, and many become disenfranchised because of that. I got the hell out of California, and the politics of the state was one of the major motivators for me to leave. Perhaps an unpopular opinion, but it's largely drama if you decide to move purely for political reasons. With the overturning of Roe v. Wade, there is perhaps a more compelling reason to do so. But those who are financially free enough to move based this alone would likely be able to travel, in the event they need to anyway, for an abortion. I cannot think of a state that is politically so divisive that their population would be better off packing up. Big fan of voting with my feet, mostly avoiding states with income taxes and high call. Depends on the reason, and it might not just be because of political demographics. I'm in New Jersey. As a Democrat, I'm comfortable here because it's mostly a Democratic state, but taxes and the cost of living are some of the highest in the country. They rise every single year and are unacceptable. We would need a business-minded Republican governor elected whom can rein in costs. Unfortunately, the likelihood of both happening, for many reasons, are severely slim, so the only thing to do is leave. I genuinely want to leave the country because I believe it's all going downhill. I'll get out eventually. First they came for the socialists. We are out of this country if Tiny Hands is re-elected. We are moving for retirement, and it will be a blue state. No question about it. I said to family members before, if a civil war breaks out, I'm getting a camper, and then living out in the woods. I think it's just a loud minority that creates this theoretical environment. Once you actually spend time around people, most people are really in the middle. Only a few loud dumbasses who want to be on the fringe. I would say the best advice one can give is to stay where you feel safe and your family can stay safe. Above all, but where a realistic fight can be waged. To do so. I honestly thought this post was about escaping the sinking ship, which I'm certainly looking for opportunities to do. Any man with a European citizenship gets to front of the line.